Welcome back to the 2014 World Championship. This week, Season 1 World Champions Fnatic joined the ranks of other past winners to have gotten the championship skin treatment. So now, along with the Taipei Assassins and SK Telecom T1K, you can show your EU LCS pride on the Rift by heading to the store and picking up the Fnatic Team Bundle. Don't dawdle, they will only be available until October 31st. Then they will go back into the vault. The Shushe Graga skin in particular is absolutely incredible. Guys, let's keep the matches rolling. Our second bout of the day, it will be Korea's #1 seed, Samsung Blue, taking on Fnatic. I think expectations for Dade and the rest of Blue were very high. They delivered a fairly convincing win over LPL's OMG in traditional Blue style. Slow to start, strong to finish. Let's talk about the team. Monty, you're the expert.
Yeah, I mean, pretty conventional stuff that we saw from them. Hart went to 10-1 all-time on Nami. Interesting fact about Hart, you let him get on to Thresh or Nami, and he's now 26-5 all-time. Probably champions you don't want to let him have. And then Yasuo coming up big for Dade as well. And Deft, you know, it was very interesting. He did have a slow start yesterday, was not having the best KDA. He overextended, let himself get killed in a teleport play, ate a hook, but then comes back and absolutely dominates, gets himself back into the game at 8.5 KDA. This is the kind of play that we were expecting to see from Name on EDG, but Deft is the positional ADC that delivered.
Yeah, he really did. The other side of the Rift, however, it was a disappointing start to Worlds for Fnatic. They took a loss to LMQ, despite having a fairly positive early game. I would never say they were in control, but they were dictating the tempo until LMQ arrested it back. What went wrong for Fnatic yesterday, Crepo? Or, you know, what do they need to be careful of against Samsung Blue?
They just didn't snowball their small lead they had and their mid game well enough, and they just lost control of what was happening on different sides of the map. It felt like they tunneled around areas way too much and just forgot what was going on the sideways, for example. And then they finally had this stacked wave coming into bottom lane. Like, who's going to take care of that? And then that's how the image that Rekkles is always AFK farming on the side lane gets created, because Fnatic doesn't deal with a problem until it's too late.
I mean, that's not an image. That's what happens.
Yeah.
I mean, Reckless is a very good AD carry. He's good in team fights, good in lane, but his team and he just haven't played. I mean, it reminds me of how Doublelift used to play, honestly.
Used to.
Doublelift, how difficult is it for Reckless on the stage right now to actually realize when he needs to join the team? I mean, yesterday it felt like he wasn't there.
I can tell you from first-hand experience, anytime you lose when you're split pushing as AD carry, I feel terrible. Like, I feel like, wow, if I had just grouped, then we totally could have won the fight. Like, yeah, sometimes people get hooked. So, for example, last time, Xpeke got hooked 2 times, and it really lost Fnatic the game. But at the same time, you're not just going to go up to Xpeke and say, wow, why'd you get hooked? It was more like, I made that situation a possibility. I gave that team an avenue to win because I was off split pushing. So I feel like Reckless is smart enough to also kind of have that mature standpoint. And this time, I expect him to group earlier and really just stick with his team and team fight.
I sincerely hope that is the case. Let's lock in some predictions, guys. See who you think is going to pick up a win here. Let's start this one off with Monte Cristo. Samsung Blue or Fnatic, who's taking it and why?
Samsung Blue, I think that we're going to see just more of the same yesterday, that stellar team fighting. Samsung Blue is a better team at grouping than Fnatic, and they'll push that advantage harder. And there's so many dangerous picks, too. I mean, we saw Acorn's Rumble. This guy was known, back on his old idea of Chunju on MVP Blue before they became Samsung, as the best Rumble player in Korea. He was getting it banned against him when it wasn't a meta pick. I hadn't seen it a long time. I was super happy to see it yesterday. He performed. They have to eliminate these comfort picks. No Yasuo, no Zed, no Rumble for Blue, but even then I think they'll still win.
I'm glad you highlighted the mid picks because probably you've yet to chime in on this matchup. Who's going to be your winner and why?
I will choose Blue, but the reason I haven't said anything about mid is because so far I'm 2 for 2 for talking down mid lanes, and then the next game they perform really well. Froggen did that, and Zhao Weijia did that. So, Xpeke, you're a really big disappointment. Incoming Pinnacle for Xpeke. But they'll still lose, in my opinion.
Still lose, in your opinion. Crepo, you're the next on my hit list. Who's winning and why?
Well, yeah, I'm just going to join the guys with Blue. I think they're just, as a team, way better. However, there's some really interesting matchups that we get to see. We get to see Deft against the European Deft, as he called his account, I believe. So I'm looking forward to that. I think Soas can always surprise on top lane. I've stopped counting him out because he always has something up his sleeves. So I hope for a good match. But yeah, I think Blue collectively will take the game.
It needs to not be Lulu, in my opinion. Doublelift, final vote.
Yep, Samsung Blue, just like all you guys said, just every lane I expect will win for Samsung Blue. The only chance I can see is if Fnatic's bottom lane goes really aggressive at a good time and somehow all ends Deft and Hart.
I'm glad you actually mentioned that because both Deft and Reckless have had a lot of mutual respect building up to Worlds, hence calling one another their opponents' names. Anyways, let's see how the predictions compare to the fan vote. According to lolesports.com, Samsung Blue is leading Fnatic with 54%. That is very impressive, and it is something that it'll be an uphill battle for Fnatic. Let's send it over to the triple cast. This year, Samsung Blue has been a team that is transformed. The team gave the lion's share of credit for the success to the man that they call the General.
네, 안녕하세요. 삼성 블루팀의 미드라이너를 맡고 있는 다대 내어진입니다. 저를 수식하는 여러 말들이 있죠. 인간 제드라던가 장군이라던가. 누가 먼저 시작한 건진 잘 모르겠지만 장군이라는 별명에 대해서 평소에 신경 쓰진 않습니다.
제 생각에 엄청나게 많이 의식하고 있는 것 같아요. 뜨거운 이제 여름날에도 자켓을 입고 있잖아요. 그런 게 보면은 망토 이렇게 들은 그 대장군 포스처럼 이렇게 느낌이 있으려고 걸음걸이도 약간 다가가면 한 대 맞겠다 이런 느낌의 풍채를 풍기면서 걷고. 다들 듣고 있네. 8강까지가 그때 당시 오존팀의 최고 성적이었는데 다대 선수가 들어오고 나서 바로 우승을 했고
MVP 미드 다대입니다.
다대 선수가 평소 연습 때보다 대회 때 거의 한 2배, 3배는 목소리도 크게 하고 말도 많이 해요. 그만큼 이기고 싶은 것 같아요. 누구보다도.
충격이었죠. 네, 롤드컵을 그렇게 빨리 타격할 줄은 정말 몰랐고 제가 할 수 있었던 건 새로 준비한 그라가스와 리산드라였는데
제가 지금 와서 정말 냉철하게 분석을 하면 다대는 기본적으로 장군이기 때문에 칼 하나 정도는 들고 있어야 되는데 그라가스를 여러분 보세요. 굉장히 둔해 보이고 칼을 들고 있지도 않고 뭔가 뚜렷하게 잘생기지도 않았습니다. 당연히 질 수밖에 없었죠.
감독님의 속마음까진 모르겠지만 사실 굉장히 기분이 나빴습니다.
그때는 불어도 못하는 시절이었잖아요. 좌천됐다고 많이 느꼈을 것 같아요.
삼성 블루는 정확히 이 상황에서 어떻게 해야 되고 이런 부분에 대한 결정을 하는 사람이 없더라고요. 고민 끝에 바꾸게 됐죠.
처음에는 솔직히 서로 의견도 잘 안 맞고 많이 힘들어가지고 트러블도 많이 나고 그랬었는데 우리 장군님께서 딱 들어오시고 난 다음부터 한순간에 갑자기 우승, 뭐 마스터즈 우승 뭐 난리 났잖아요. 팀의 중심을 잡아주는 역할을 진짜 잘 수행해주고 있는 것 같아요.
그 한타 때 우리가 이거 이겨줘라는 판단을 다대 선수가 합니다. 냉철하게 보는 일이 다혜한테 있는 것 같아요.
뭐가 됐든 간에 블루에 와서 우승을 한 거고 결국 잘 되긴 했죠. 어떤 때나 미드라이너들을 거론할 때 제 이름이 빠지지 않는 그런 선수가 되고 싶어요. 뭐 한국에서는 제가 장군이라고 불리는데 외국 시청자분들께도 제가 왜 장군이라고 불리는지 똑똑히 알려드리겠습니다.
Confident talk there from the General himself, and we'll see if he can march in on his steed here at Worlds and conquer the title.
I mean, all the stuff they said about him in that video was true, about wearing the jacket outside. It's really hot here in Singapore. He's wearing his sweater outside. When he's on the bus, he's just so in his own zone. The rest of his team is talking and laughing at the back of the bus. He's just staring at the front of his seat.
He's definitely got that laser focus that you're looking for in a General.
Well, we'll see how he does in this game. We are going to get to it and see if Fnatic can shake off their day one loss or if Samsung Blue will keep the momentum going. On the blue side for this match is, of course, Samsung Blue with Acorn in the top lane, Spirit in the jungle, the General Dade in the mid lane, Def the AD carry, and Heart on support.
And on the red side is Fnatic. Up top is Soaz. In the jungle, Cyanide. Mid, Expeke. AD carry Reckless. And support Yellow Star.
And of course, that sets us up for our featured matchup. And in this game, it's a clash of the carries with Deft versus Reckless.
Or, you know, as some call them by their live accounts, European Deft versus Reckless, who's actually Deft. Both of these guys are very strong team fighting AD carries, and they have a lot of respect for each other.
Yeah, and you can see they're both really good laners. Deft actually surprised me when I saw he normally is almost 6 CS ahead of his opponent at 10 minutes across all his OGN playoff and regional games. So really strong in lane. as well as being legendary for his ability to dodge in team fights. It's just going to be a focused matchup. So much mutual respect, but a lot of weight on their shoulders for success.
Yeah, and we'll see. I think a lot of that amazing CS lead that he has over everyone else coming down to the fact that Samsung Blue done amazingly from these lane swaps, getting Deft really going. We'll see what they do here against Fnatic. This is an important one for both teams, for Samsung Blue to really stamp their authority on this group of Deft, as Reckless called it on his Korean account. And for Fnatic, obviously, they need to show up here and prove that they've got what it takes.
Yeah, I mean, definitely it would be a morale boost for Europe. Definitely to take down Blue, #1 in the group right now. If one of these European teams was going to get a win to rally, the whole region, this would be it.
Yeah, we almost saw Alliance take down Najin White Shield. These groups are just so close in skill, I still feel like. And Blue, yes, they are the #1 seed in Korea. Their game against OMG, they did give up a few kills early. It is the group of death for a reason. I don't think you just go into the group of death and expect a 6-0 team.
So is this game then won in the early stages by Fnatic? I mean, we saw Alliance win in the early game, the mid game against Najin White Shield. And people have said that if you're going to beat Blue, you probably have to do it in the laning phase and somehow hope when it comes to team fights that you're far enough ahead, because these guys are insane.
I think it was going to be some sort of surprise factor from Fnatic. One of those famous SOAS teleports down bottom, or some sort of shenanigans in the mid game, switching things up.
Well, if they have a mid-game advantage, they need to be able to press it very quickly. Blue, the best team really at coming back from mid-game or early-game deficits, yet it's not like they're bad in the mid or early game either.
Let's have a look at the bans then. We've had 4 already. Zillion and Alistair banned away by Samsung Blue. On the other side, Twitch and Lee Sin taken away. So no Twitch for Def, no Lee Sin for Spirit. Maokai will also be removed from the battle. So I'd like to say that shrinks SOAS's options here, but it is, of course, SOAS. And, well, if you look down if its champions played, I'd be here for about 3 hours telling you each of their names.
Also, they still have that Rumble on the table that we've been talking about. Ridiculous stats so far here at Worlds. Jungle focus here on Spirit, trying to limit his champion pool.
I am so shocked that Fnatic would be the ones to ban away Kha'Zix. I thought for sure Cyanide would want to pick that with one of their first 2 picks. And I guess they didn't want to chance Samsung Blue using their first pick on it because they had already banned away the Lee Sin. But
so
Zed's up.
If they give away Zed to Dade in exchange for choosing one of the earlier junglers here for dueling, he's got his pick of the litter right now. He's actually almost smiling for once.
That's not an almost smile. That is
all right.
That is very much a smile.
No bans thrown at Dade.
So I got an interesting story here about giving Zed to Dade, because this is something not a lot of teams like to do, and for very good reason. We were talking to the Cloud9 guys, and they're like, in some of the scrims versus Blue, we actually gave Dade Zed once. And what happened was, in the early game, it wasn't even fed. 0-0-0 Dade, 1 versus 2, gets a double kill by himself. So they never gave him it again.
Yeah, I think the key part of that sentence was once. We gave him
gave it to him once.
But Fnatic going for that, and actually coming in here with Thresh, which has been a mega pick for SOAS, for Yellow Star. He's pulled off some amazing hooks throughout this season, at least for Cyanide. And yes, we have a fair amount of jungle bans. Is Elise the right choice, though?
I'm very curious about these choices because they put such a high priority on jungle banning and picking away, but Spirit is a Rengar player as well, and people who are Rengar mains have had spectacular success at the World Championship. He could very easily still just pick Rengar or even Jarvan. I do not think they're getting much value out of these Lee Sin, Kha'Zix bans and Elise picks.
Yeah, it's a strange one, right? Oh, I'd love to see
You guys are really excited for half a second.
He's definitely joking around here. Having some fun with it. So, as we said, like 2 of the early duelist junglers are banned out, but there are plenty more left. Elise and Jarvan, fairly equal on that account. Both of them depend on hitting their CC. If you hit the cocoon, then you can have the advantage with Elise, but if Jarvan hits his knockup, then it's a fairly even duel there.
So what a Fnatic going to add into this one? Of course, have last pick, so could wait for Peke's choice to go up against Dade Zed. See about that one. for now, support and jungler. So Fnatic not really given too much away at this stage, I think.
I'm still a little flabbergasted that Dade was able to pick Zed so easily with these jungle bans going away. The team composition Blue is putting together right now just fits them so well. Deft obviously on Kog'Maw, probably his favorite AD carry. It gives them a magic damage sprinkle, which is what they need if they have a full physical mid laner. Fnatic's going to have to pick something extraordinary here to try and make up for this.
Yeah, plus Acorn could very easily pick Lulu up top or a Kale up top. Or again, as we said, the Rumble once again to really top off that mid game. Kog'Maw Rumble we've seen have a lot of success.
This is interesting. Peke going with that Ahri. Putting a lot of faith in his skills here, allowing that Zed to go through.
So, Fnatic are a team that really excel with picks, and they're really going all in on this pick. I mean, they need to make these count then. The hooks, cocoons, and charms have to be on point if they're going to win this game.
I mean, we look towards the Champions Summer Final where Samsung Blue was defeated by the KT Arrows, who didn't even end up making it to Worlds. And KT Arrows was arguably the best early game team in the world, and they were able to punish some of Samsung Blue's vulnerabilities there. So the way you do that in the early mid game is you try and get picks. You try and make aggressive dives, and Fnatic is building towards that.
There's that Lulu, though, that we were looking for in the top lane for Acorn. He will give some extra peeling here for Kog'Maw. Lulu plus Nami locked in at the same time provides a tremendous amount of peel for him. They'll also probably be rushing one of those Mikhails because they are facing this pick comp.
Just want to look at the statistics from the last OGN and playoffs. 100% win record for Lulu for Acorn. 100% win record for Def on Kog'Maw. 100% win record for Dade on Zed. 100% win record for Nami and Heart. 100% win record for Spirit on Jarvan. He's not played it. 100% nothing is still nothing.
He hasn't lost on it,
but he hasn't lost on it. So, I mean,
the undefeated composition.
They're pretty strong picks right now. On the other side, Soaz is going to be busting out Irelia.
I guess.
Well, so Lulu early on, if they bring Cyanide's jungle Elise up there and they get this, fairly early on squishy Lulu, they can get a kill on her. But I mean, they put so much emphasis on this jungle pick. We're gonna have to see some early jungle play from Cyanide, going very aggressive with this Elise.
And if Fnatic doesn't do that exceptionally and have at least a 7,000 gold lead by 20 minutes, they're going to lose in team fights. They have almost all single target damage, and scaling roll to roll is not really better than Blue in any single position. So they're really needing to go all in on this pick.
And that's where you've got to hope that Fnatic have somehow found a bucket load of confidence hidden somewhere inside the venue here, because yesterday they didn't look like a super confident team. There were some very sketchy moments for them, some very nervous looking plays, and with this kind of composition they just can't afford to think too much about the play that they're going to make.
With those kind of stats,
you kind of fudged the last one 100% on Jarvan.
Like, yeah, shove that one.
I'll go with undefeated as well, but the fact that they haven't lost with any of those champions is a little bit ridiculous.
Well, guys, remember, we want to know who you think will win this match. Tweet hashtag SSB win or FNC win. Win, not win. And we'll be checking in throughout the game to see how your vote changes. A scary, scary lineup here for Samsung Blue. Of course, the favorites coming out of this group, you could argue, along with their sister team, Samsung White, the favorites for the whole thing here in the World Championships.
And, once again, just because they did give away that first pick Zed to Dade, I'm going to go over this mid lane matchup once again. I said it yesterday, but now that Zed spawns behind you when he uses his ultimate, Pekka is going to have to be on point with that charm. As soon as he comes in, you have to immediately throw your charm right behind you to tag him. Or we've already seen it yesterday at groups. Zed diving turrets against Ahri, and you don't even have enough time to get away with the Spirit Rush if you don't hit that charm. But good news is he will always spawn in the same spot, so if you're expecting it.
Unless you turn around too early and then he's kind of back where you thought he wasn't going to be when you throw your charm.
Better time it right.
Better time that one right. We'll see how Peke handles this one. Of course, a Season 1 world champion. Got pretty close last year as well. But I think it'd be very much a dream scenario for him if he was to be able to pick up a second World Championship. There's some early wards going down on the bottom side. Yellow Star inside the brush will spot Heart and the vision that they're getting down.
Ooh, in range for play.
Might not. Oh, that was brilliantly waited out by Heart. We'll see if he's waited too long here. The Ignite is going down. It's not going to be enough damage to get the kill. And Death along there with the roam from Dade will be able to force him off. Heart going low. Didn't use his flash or exhaust, so really being so patient and knowing exactly how much damage he could take.
I feel like that would have been a summoner spell if he had started Flay for the easier to hit spell, but he went for the 100%. He went for the kill. He wanted to go all in, go for the hook to bring him in.
But because he missed the hook, it ends up being a summoner disadvantage for Fnatic. They were saying on the analyst desk one of the only ways they see Fnatic winning this game is if Reckless and Yellowstar can go aggressive at the right situation. You can see they're even building towards that with the Ignite and the Doran shield onto Yellowstar. It's like they wanted to trade. Now that those items have been spotted out, you can see Deft is just getting away from that lane. They're not going to allow the Doran shield to be a lane advantage. Instead, they'll take the extra ward control that Hart started with and the gold generation from his item.
See if he can continue those great stats as well. The leads that he's had at 10 minutes in the lane when it comes to farm compared to his opposite number. Reckless himself, not a bad farmer, that's for sure. And we'll be looking to make the most of that 2 versus 1 scenario. This mid lane, Dade already putting down, and also missing one shuriken there onto Peke. This lane is definitely one to be keeping an eye on. Peke's got to go all out in this match.
Yeah, he's got to constantly try and shove Dade under that turret. Use this lane control to try and make something happen with that early Elise. All right, so Soaz, after seeing the lane swap here, they finally brought him down for the double jungle, but he's much later on it. Acorn's already got a level on him because they started with the double jungle, them being the ones that decided to go for this lane swap.
Up on the top side, Spirit actually double buffed up already along with Acorn. Gonna make a bit of a play on this one, getting the wards in. Is it a case of clearing out the jungle, or are they gonna put 4 men straight on the tower?
Well, it was a delayed lane swap, so the freeze couldn't be set up properly in the top lane. Because of that, they're gonna be going for a fast push. Whether Fnatic answers with the dragon or with a fast push of their own is yet to be seen.
And even if they could answer with that, well, it looks like they are actually doing a fast push of their own. They're gonna try and go turret for turret.
They can absolutely answer with the dragon, but they just don't want to, it seems like.
Will they be able to time it fast enough to go for that bottom turret and then swing around to that dragon? Not sure about that front, especially since they pulled away. So they're going to leave Reckless to go for the tower. They'll send the other 4 towards the dragon.
So the thing is here, a lot of teams take this trade, dragon for top turret in the lane swaps. However, if you pull that top turret lane swap correctly, you kill the tower correctly and then group the minions to get them pushing back at you after you take this turret, then the ramifications later in the game are actually in favor of the team going with that top turret. Because for Dragon, your top laner is going to get much less experience. It's only 150 experience for this early Dragon, and that's split among everybody who's at the Dragon. So you can see Soaz is going to be at a experience disadvantage, whereas up top, Acorn shoving the wave, you get 206 experience per wave, and that's not even counting a cannon minion, plus an extra 30% if you're sharing it with people. So the team overall, that would bring it up to 268 experience just for that lane. Now, investing in experience is an investment in your future gold earning potential. So even though the initial gold trade is the same, the level discrepancy of your top laner is a great tool that a lot of, especially Korean teams, have made use of. Now they're going to be matching up.
That was a charm from Peke, landing down. They may be in trouble. Cocoon lands back range there from Cyanide, but I'm getting a bit overexcited from that one. The damage not quite there yet.
I'm happy you got to use those numbers, Kobe. I saw you prepping them all pre-game. I'm going to save that one so I can remember those numbers for later as well, but you can definitely see Fnatic with the slight gold advantage, but as you said, the experience is a whole other story.
They got the minion wave pushing back against them. That's the key part. After they killed the turret, they grouped them up and got the minion wave pushing in Acorn's favor, so now Soaz has to play on his terms. What this does is because Soaz doesn't have a turret, sometimes it will draw the jungler up there to try and protect him. Cyanide, though, and the rest of Fnatic, focusing on the bottom lane here, do get seen by this pink ward.
whilst we were earlier on talking about Alliance having the worst amount of wards cleared per minute in their games, Fnatic have the best, and we see it there once again. Yellow Star moving in with the rest of their team. They see the pink ward going down. They will group up and just get rid of those big areas that you...
Well, here it is, 6 to 5!
They're going to dive straight in on top of him, but no, not quite the damage. Well, nowhere near the damage to finish off.
Yeah, he was jumping on that level 6 to level 5 advantage to get a health advantage. However, Peke with a good response there. We talked about responding very early to that Zed ultimate. So far, so good for Peke.
I think we're really just starting to see these lanes balance out now. The junglers are pretty even. Peke has survived that lane remarkably well early against Dade and wasn't even harassed down heavily by the death mark. And we get to see this 2v2 lane happen now where Reckless does have the experience advantage as well as CS advantage over Deft. Plus he's a pickaxe to a longsword health crystal, so if Fnatic can get a little bit aggressive in this lane, they could start pulling some individual edges.
Yeah, he is going to get that level 6. They could even shove down another wave with his culling and try and get turret pressure here. The problem is ward coverage right now in Blue's favor. They've got ward coverage all over this bottom side.
However,
Jungler shows top though, that means there's no more threat.
Jungler showing on that top side means that they can do whatever they want. There's a bubble there onto Reckless, and it seems like they've managed to force Fnatic away at least for now. There's the culling coming through, but actually Hart walking into that entire amount of damage there, going very, very low.
A pretty big misplay there by Hart there. If he hugged the wall, he clearly wasn't getting hit by the culling, and he seemed to walk into it. But now he's extremely low, and there's no reason for this turret push to stop except to teleport.
Oh, that teleport coming down bottom. Yellow Star's on less than half HP. Here comes the reply, though. Soaz is going to come down. Yellow Star staying out of vision this entire time. Darnay's onto Peke. Flashing from... No! Got him! Yes, they got him in the end. Down the bottom. No one actually died in the end, thanks to those reverse teleports coming in. Soaz coming down to answer Acorn. It was all about the mid lane and the minions bringing Peke back in, but first blood went to Dade.
So in the end, even though down bottom, Acorn misses his Glitter Lance and they don't get a kill, there's no kill down bottom, they have control of the wave, and Deft gets to shove it into turret here. See how many CS, Reckless, and Soaz can pick up under the turret. Looks like all of them.
That mid lane fight was pretty cool, though.
Yeah, we'll probably get another look at that here. All right, so here's the duel once again. Good Charm already used, so that's why Dade is going to go all the way in here.
The thing was...
2 minion shots! That ranged minion, what a hero!
What a
MVP. MVP of Fnatic's game so far. And that's, I mean, Peke choosing to go for the flash without the minions, that wouldn't have been worth it. Gets it in the end though, and he's going to come back into lane with a needlessly large rod. If we look down the AD carry, is actually Reckless deciding to go straight into his boots here, picking up those Berserker Greaves and the pickaxe.
If we're looking at this game big picture though, as we saw in Champion Select, Samsung Blue has ridiculous edges in team fights, and this early game has been fairly muted. It's been very close, which is something that is very comfortable for Samsung Blue. One thing I like to say about them is Blue is very unimpressive until they straight up win, and that might be the story of this game.
Well, this is how you certainly get your stats buffed when it comes to killing walls. Have your supports trading them off inside of that Tribush this entire time. There is Yellow Star, gonna scan down and find that one out as well. So big war on the vision on that bottom side. This turret though, dangerously low, and with Cyanide's presence, I think Blue have to back away. However, they have Spirit coming around here. The hook comes out, lands onto Hart, followed up by the Cocoon.
Down.
Can they get in there? Spirit himself does have flash available, and he goes for it. They trap in Yellow Star, and will be able to get away. Max range knock him though, and Spirit will take down Yellow Star.
So what happens here is they use both the hook and the Cocoon on the Nami who's under turret. There's nothing to protect them on their escape. Dade circles around, but they've already gotten away from this turret.
Deft was just raining chaos on them right there. He landed pretty much every single ultimate there, and just because of that little bit of over-aggression by Fnatic and a nice defense there by Spirit, it's going to be an easy dragon for Blue.
Going down without Fnatic doing much about it, and that will put them almost 1,000 gold into the lead. Credit to Peke, who took half the health off that middle outer turret before either Dade or Acorn could come down to that one. Meanwhile, Reckless on his own here on this bottom side of the map needs to be a little careful. Hart can land a good bubble. He might be sent back home once again. Does look, however, like Blue are just recalling from that bottom lane to spend up. There's Dade once again, getting charmed, and half of his health disappears.
I just have to say it one more time, how I like Blue's attention to detail in the bottom fight, counting the cooldowns from Fnatic, because all of their cooldowns used on Hart under the turret, they chase him off 2 versus 3. They know that they have the spell advantage, and they come up with the kill. Earns them the objective as well.
I do have to talk about Peke in the mid lane, though. He's doing very well against Dade thus far. There hasn't been a massive amount of jungle pressure by either side, and he does have a bit of a health advantage. Another charm!
Diving straight in there. Can he finish off this time? Saving the Spirit Rush, the Ignite. The minions joining in as well for a bit of fun. Either way, it's not a kill, but it is a turret for Fnatic.
Really hoped he was going to go all in on that, but he isn't that bold. Doesn't want to risk losing his blue buff to somebody coming up the lane. Spirit is a guy known for having a knack of being in the right place. So if he's there, ready to counter gank you, and Peke uses his last Spirit Rush to dive a turret, then he ends up losing his buff.
You can actually just see how much Blue is relying on their ability to be in the right place. Boots aren't really an item for them 12 minutes into the game. Dade has tier 1 boots. He's the only person on their team, whereas we look at Fnatic, everyone has tier 1 boots, and Reckless has even upgraded his, I feel like, to dodge the Bioarcane barrages from Kog'Maw. Or Living Artillery? Living Artillery. Can't dodge that Bioarcane barrage.
He could run away from it.
Yeah, real fast.
Get out of range. Right now, Def just getting some fall from that middle lane, but we've gone past the 10-minute mark, and Def, the man who's been ahead at 10 minutes compared to his opponents, is behind by a decent little chunk here as well. So Fnatic winning out on that front, of course, have a little lead in this game, albeit just 500 golden. You have to feel like those kind of leads you have to, take and just throw Samsung Blue's way. Sonya's has now finished for Peke. That gives him a chance to start some things up.
Well, Dade already saw that there was going to be a Zhonya's completed because he saw the build path, and he was counting the gold here from Peke, so he swapped over to split pushing now. He's got his Cutlass plus his Brutalizer. He swaps to split pushing down bottom, which is actually something a little bit rare for Blue, not to go and have Dade away from the team here. So he's going to be split pushing against Soaz in the bottom lane, and Soaz has to get more ward coverage down. You can see he's playing very defensively here, getting some extra ward coverage and letting Dade shove it back.
Fnatic once again going in, trying to get some wards down and stealing away the Wraith Camp, something that Peke has done very well over the course of the LCS season. Something that really relies on to just bump his farm by that extra amount. Meanwhile, as you mentioned, Dade going down bottom, Soaz has basically been the answer to this one. And actually, as it pushed up over the halfway mark, he's just a level behind Dade right now. And Dade is going to die for him here. This is surely Soaz going to go down, but he's putting in some decent damage. Ignite will be used, but finish off, and that is Dade's second of the game.
It's just a smart move. He had gone to split pushing. Soaz had not itemized armor, and once the death mark was on, Soaz kind of had two options. He could either trade flashes or save both flashes. He just decided to accept his fate, kept his flash. Dade did as well, though, and Dade picks up the kill.
Top lane Reckless looked like he was being collapsed upon there, but now it's Def just coming up. Spirit moving through the jungle. Actually, they were spotted by wards, so Reckless had that early warning system in place. Meanwhile, a blue buff will be handed over to Peke, who, funnily enough, is now looking like he could be headed down towards this bottom side of the map just to get a wave or two's farm. Push that one back in Fnatic's favor. On the other side of the map, though, Samsung Blue all grouped up here. 4 men around that blue buff after seeing those wards going down. Doing a good job of clearing out most of them, but that's a cheeky little spot there for Fnatic inside of the wolf camp.
Yeah, Fnatic are going to do their best to get that deep ward coverage. They have a little bit in the red side jungle, but they also have to worry about blue wards and clearing those out, because actually both teams have the potential to pick. Yes, Fnatic definitely have the advantage in that area, but we've already seen Dade's ability to 1 versus 1. Now he's level 11 too. That was only a level 1 ultimate before.
Yeah, and I'm just waiting to see how Fnatic can set these things up. Blue is a tremendously talented defensive team. They have also withstood a lot of the potential pitfalls against this Fnatic team. When they're able to get that 2v3 turnaround in the bottom lane and secure the Dragon, they kind of secured themselves safety up until 20 minutes, and unless they give a bunch of kills to Fnatic here, they're almost assured in outscaling them. So even though Fnatic is acquiring vision control over this next Dragon, Blue doesn't have to contest it because they've already secured a Dragon for themselves. They're getting farm in the right places, and they feel like they can weather whatever mid-game Fnatic storm they have planned.
The group, there's only 10 seconds for Dragon, and Yellowstar has done a good job of just pushing his way through to Samsung Blue's red buff and clearing out the vision along the way. They have full sight. Oh, there's a charm coming through. Actually, the orb did connect onto Spirit, but they couldn't get any more than that.
With Soaz up top, Fnatic shouldn't start this Dragon. They should just delay Blue right now. Blue would have to be the ones to force something. So if Fnatic play this carefully, then Blue are actually going to have to be the team that start up the Dragon and start taking damage from it. Because Soaz is gaining advantages. He took the turret, he's still shoving, he's getting solo lane experience, he's pushing as hard as he can.
If one team knows how to use the teleport advantage, though, it is Fnatic. Blue, though, not hesitating and just going for the Dragon. Here comes the teleport.
Gotta move in for this one. Yellowstar will flash. They get the hook onto Spirit. He puts a Cataclysm down. Charm comes through. They do manage to take down the Dragon as well. And Fnatic surely just gonna turn and burn from this one. The Spiderling comes on through. Soaz in full vision there, but Fnatic do get away with their lives.
So how do Fnatic get their advantage? Teleport usage. Vision control over Dragon. They have Soaz in the right place. Beautiful call there from Fnatic. Blue take the bait. Run right into Dragon to try and force them because they'd already committed 5 members away from the split push. They had to do something.
Even though that was an overall win for Fnatic, I do have to give a shout out to Spirit for that escape. Not many people think to Cataclysm when they get caught just so they can EQ out. Most people would try to EQ immediately. Because he Cataclysmed first, it assured his escape.
He was able to escape. Good job once again, Soaz with the, Cyanide with the quick fingers for Smite as well, secure for Fnatic. So they got 2 objectives out of that call. Top turret as well as Dragon. They do need to snowball that lead though.
Every single lane was able to come out of laning phase with a pretty big edge. 25 CS in the top lane, almost 40 in the mid lane from Peke, and even Reckless is doing a nice job of out farming. When they hit their item peaks, which they're kind of close to now, they need to continue to force objectives. Baron has to go down before 30 minutes for Fnatic if they want to win this game.
This is where, once again, that real test comes in. We saw it in our last encounter. Alliance had a big lead at this point in the game, were unable to convert that into a victory. And you could even argue that Fnatic are up against an even tougher opponent when it comes to closing out the game, especially since the fact that Death going to be getting stronger and the team fight potential of Blue is incredibly strong.
The scaling is way more out of whack in this game than it was in our last one. Blue is just head and shoulders above Fnatic as far as team fight ability late game. So this 2,000 gold advantage will mean nothing 15 minutes from now. Fnatic needs to make this a much larger edge. I kind of put my ballpark of what Fnatic needs to have accumulated by 20 minutes at a 5,000 gold lead if they wanted to win. They're not there yet, so they still have to make some pretty aggressive moves if they want to win.
And it seems to be that sticking point once again of outer turrets are down. How do we change outer turrets into those inner turrets and then go even further with that? You'd argue that vision is the first step. If you look at Samsung Blue's map, despite having all those outer turrets down, Fnatic have no real wards in there. They've got one over the back of the Dragon Pit, which of course you can place on the safety of the Dragon Pit itself.
Yeah, Blue got 4 pink wards down on the map. Fnatic trying to do their best to clear them out now, but before Fnatic can make a play, they have to establish control of one side of the jungle to actually make that play on. Soaz walking right into darkness.
Why?
Oh, there's the bubble coming in. Spirit's gonna knock him up. Soaz's health bar gets demolished, and it will actually be Hart that gets the kill. Caught out.
It was just a bad path to take. Fnatic has a defensive pink ward in their own jungle. Use the controlled safe vision. Do not go walking into the fog of war. They would have been about the same time to get up there anyway. Big mistake by Soaz there.
See how they can recover though.
That's the pink ward he was supposed to use to get to top lane.
This buys more time here for Blue as well. Now they're going to siege up around mid. Got a still split pushing.
pain coming through there from Deft with that Trinity Force now on. It's going to be a little bit of an issue for Fnatic once Samsung Blue start to step up a little bit onto those turrets. We can see as soon as Fnatic come out, Samsung Blue saying, nope, we don't fancy this just yet. We're going to back away from you. Good slow from Acorn towards Expeke, and Reckless almost be burst down there. Deft doing some good damage. With half of Reckless health bar gone.
Yeah, Deft doesn't care about the 68 CS disadvantage he's facing to Reckless right now. Kog'Maw with double buffs and Trinity Force. If you walk into his area of presence, he will punish you, and Deft did a great job there getting damage done onto Reckless.
And here comes the push towards the tower, and instantly Reckless pulls the trigger, gets that call.
This is their opportunity.
Oh, Peke actually starting to flank around the side there, but in the end, seeing no opportunity for him. He's just gone straight down towards that bottom lane. There's actually a really big wave with him down on that bottom side of the map as well, but with Samsung Blue pushing this mid lane, I'm not sure that Peke can necessarily stick around for that.
And he didn't even shove it all the way into the turret here, so walking up towards mid, let's see, they would have to hit a skill shot. Fnatic unable to grab the crucial pick. Wards have timed out for Blue on their bottom side of the map though. Fnatic really need to jump on one of these quadrants, focus their vision efforts, and try to make plays in that area.
This is a period of the game where we're seeing so much won and lost. European teams, Alliance and Fnatic, have both held edges at this point in the game, and especially against Blue and Shield, it has really just shown that Blue and Shield own this part of the game. Their vision control is superior, they're the ones that have been able to find the picks, and they're the ones that have been able to prevent getting killed. This Dragon will have a big part in deciding whether Fnatic can continue their lead or whether they're just going to succumb to the late game of Samsung Blue.
Do they want to fight for it? Just 2,200 gold separates the two teams. And here comes Samsung Blue. Charm will fly wide from Peke. Has to use the ultimate to get away from the bubble.
And there goes a lot of their team fight presence. Peke is their main source of damage, the only guy on their team to have a kill even.
They're running. Oh, what a switch. So they're going up mid. What a feint at Dragon.
Nice move.
Nice swap.
And they're going to get this turret here as well with both Soaz and Reckless. They will rip through that one. One more auto attack will do it. Deft and Acorn both coming across the side there. And we'll see where they do decide to chase. Peke, of course, using his ultimate early, won't have that available to him. And now Samsung Blue just pushes them straight back up the mid lane and moving straight in towards Dragon. That's a decent charm from Peke to chunk Spirit somewhat, but
he still doesn't have Spirit Rush. So this Dragon, whoa, here they're going for it.
Blue knows that Fnatic can't really teamfight them without Spirit Rush, so it's a smart take.
And Cyanide not even trying to get in on that one, through the Spiderling forward, hoping that it might just get it if a mistimed smite comes out of Spirit. That, of course, doesn't happen. Samsung Blue get themselves a Dragon, and Deft here actually going towards Reckless, not quite got the range to get him slowed, and he took the Lantern to safety anyway.
Pretty much all about that wave clear now. They're going to have to use the culling this time around. Blue have to watch out, once again, though, for the skill shot. That's always a real threat for them if they do siege up. Because the wrong person getting caught out, even if it was the front line, even if they caught Spirit, they could burst them down. So they don't even try it, spread back out defensively. They don't have to press it.
Blue, to me, has just done such a good job of tapering their aggression here and coming out with a successful stall. So many teams, when they're in a late game mindset, will give up everything without questioning it, whereas what Blue is doing is they're finding nice ways of getting Dragons. They're still getting those pick kills, even if they're not willing to commit to team fights, and they're doing it all while avoiding the picks from the Elise, Thresh, Ahri, Aurelia team, a team that is completely built around finding kills in the mid game, and Fnatic has gotten one single kill, and it was a 1v1 kill where they traded.
See that Soaz now coming down to his bottom lane, actually with that Trinity Force and his Warden's Mail, might be feeling a little bit more confident against going up against Dade. In the end, though, Heart and Death both show themselves, and Soaz says, okay, I have to just leave now. I definitely can't hold on to that one. That's going to be the outer turret, the final one. Actually, that's a lie. Fnatic's middle turret still stands. They took away the blue on the way out as well, though.
Seems like we have hit that point, though, on the power curve of Samsung Blue. They don't have to trade for objectives anymore. They just get the clean upper hand here. Turret for nothing, because Fnatic do not want to fight them straight up. Uh-oh.
Fnatic knows they have to make a move. They have a numbers advantage on this side of the map.
Oh, that's actually nice. On towards Daddy. He's actually going to get the wild growth out of Acorn. They're coming through. Reckless gets the one. Can they shut down Acorn as well? They do. It's a double kill for Reckless. And this tower is going to fall. Who's tanking it up? That will be Yellow Star on the backside. The minion wave comes through. Fnatic take their 5th tower of the game.
Reckless flashes in for that as well. Fnatic very willing to go in. And we said they needed that pre-30-minute Baron. I don't think this is enough to be able to go for a Baron, but they can at least establish some control.
They're going to try and get another pick here. This is the dangerous time walking into Fog of War for Heart. Oh, they missed both of them.
Everything missing. And Def trying to turn this one around. There is a tidal wave coming in. Cyanide down in the middle, though. They managed to pick up Def. Spirit's in the front. It's going to be so as they get one at the back. And now they're trying to chase out Spirit. To be honest, they could try and turn here and go towards Baron, but Spirit's still up there, still with a smite. You want to get him out of it, not let him even have a chance of getting in. Somehow still alive in this one. Finally gets hooked and controlled. And that's a win there for Fnatic. But what can they turn that into?
Nothing. Dade and Acorn are back up. They can't overextend. They can't get an objective after it. They did get several of the kills that they wanted, though. And vision control over Baron now being... Oh.
Yeah, this was such a good
both
setup.
Of them.
And even though they missed, that almost kind of baited Beta Blue into a bit of overconfidence right there. Def gets way too aggressive, and then Spirit just goes all in. But remember, their 2 solo lanes were dead. They were never going to win this fight.
Because Fnatic have so many skill shots, Def was like, okay, 2 are down. They missed the hook, they missed the cocoon. Now is my time to shine. I'm going to run up here, but they still have Charm left, and Peke does land one. So 1 out of 3, still enough to get Fnatic
still count
a couple of kills.
Almost 30 minutes into the matchup now. 39,500 to 43,500. Decent little lead for Fnatic. It's still not quite the 5k that you were talking about at 20 minutes. Whoa. Still further into this one. Spirit actually going to be caught inside his Cataclysm there. They went for Yellow Star at the first push, and there is the culling actually coming through. Spirit loses half his health. They force the wild growth out. Peke's got to come up big. There's a stun onto Acorn. Peke blows him up as Dade goes towards Reckless, but he's just going to QSS that off, and surely will get the kill. He does pick it up. They've managed to kill off Spirit as well. 3 men down. I don't see Def escaping. It was a charm again coming out of Peke. It's time to turn and go Baron.
Let's count the skill shots on that one, because Fnatic hit everything they had. It was an ace!
Heart's going here. Someone's going to splash away through the bubble. He is exhausted, but he won't make a difference. They get the ace. They're going to Baron.
Everything went perfect for Fnatic in that last fight. Not only did so many cooldowns get burnt on Cyanide, who is a full tank Elise, Peke got the flank, they had a spread out fight, the AoE didn't matter, and they got that pre-30-minute Baron.
All right, let's count them here then, because Spirit, very aggressive. They have the whole team here, but Soaz has his teleport, and Peke, you see him walking up right now. As you said, dumping everything into Cyanide. They get him under the turret, and then Peke flanks around the outside. Soaz sets this up with the stun. Cocoon hits, Charm hits, Peke gets the burst, and they still have 1 left for Dade. Hook does miss, but that doesn't matter. They already hit 2 out of 3, and they can easily follow it up. They bursted Acorn down. He got no chance to do anything. Soaz sets it up with the Aurelia stun, and they never got that Lulu ultimate off.
Yeah, well, they actually did. It was on the initiation beforehand with
Spirit. They on Spirit.
They blew so much just trying to kill Cyanide. They used it as an offensive ability when they built this entire mid-game about finding the right team fights later in the game, and then when they actually pull the trigger to make it, they flub. Samsung Blue, with all that build-up, did not deliver in that team fight.
So, Jack, you were almost rescued on that 5,000 statement. Since we get to 30 minutes, it's almost 10,000 now. What a swing that Ace really brings in for them. Ace into the Baron, into a Dragon as well. And now they're going to be pushing for their 6th turret of the game. They have that cannon minion there. did have a Canyon minion there. That is going to be smited away by Spirit, but Fnatic say, screw it, let's just tank this up.
Yeah, by no means is this game over either, because Fnatic doesn't miraculously have a greater team fighting team, but they still have so many advantages. Look at how farmed Reckless is, and he can take turrets fast.
Yeah, you can tell. Blue, they switch footing. Yes, they're super far behind now, so they immediately go to try and trade objectives. They don't want to straight up one-for-one defend these. They try and get one turret, they get him in.
Oh, they landed the charge. DFG comes down, but they didn't follow through onto it. Peke was scared about going too deep. There's the calling back, and they will decide to just walk away from that one. Close stuff. If the DFG had been, well, hit, if the charm would have landed then before the DFG, well, it doesn't matter now. Didn't happen for the Yellow Star. Getting bubbled, but he's inside the bush.
They have to be really careful right now. The Michaels is almost completed for Heart. Once that happens, these picks are going to be much less punishing here. Fnatic live and die by these skill shot CCs.
And they're trying desperately to...
Oh, it's completed now. They have it for this defense.
We have to watch out now if Peke lands a charm, whether that actually baits them into an initiation, because it's very hard to track enemy support itemization, especially as soon as he gets it here.
So, Fnatic stepping up. Deft trying his best to hammer away. Oh, there's a cocoon going for Deft. He's been blown down. Almost finished off there.
He didn't use it. They still have it.
Yeah, but I mean, that turret might not last by the time Deft gets back. He doesn't have home guard boots. He builds a long sword instead, but the wave does not cooperate with Fnatic's plan.
That is bold, to not immediately use your Michaelis on the first skill shot that hits, so that Deft can dodge the consecutive follow-up ones. But they save it for this round of defense.
Well, let's see if they're gonna need it. Those waves just destroyed.
Another one
coming onto us. They don't use it. They don't use it. Dade, he's gonna dive to the middle of them, and he will fall so low there as well. Manages to just walk back into the base, but they've killed off the AD carry. Again, Fnatic decides, screw it, let's take it. Max range onto Acorn. We'll get the one. Heart will be the next one. Fnatic could win the game right here.
So many skill shots. It's a skill-based game. Deft was just hyped up so much for his ability to dodge all these skill shots, but Fnatic is still landing one after another.
And Heart, you need to move your Michaelis or something. The button's broken here. He still hasn't used it. Is that a bug? Is that a spectator?
It's not a bug. It's not a bug.
I haven't seen it go off.
It's because it hasn't gone off, Kobe. He's not used it.
All right.
Oh, Dade, face check. Reckless, unstoppable. Thinking that Fnatic have completely backed away.
What is happening with Blue right now? We have to remember Dade has failed against Fnatic before on the world stage, and this game has obviously not been on Dade, but Fnatic always seems like they can step up in these key situations. They're just landing every skill shot. Let's just watch this one. There's the charm. Obviously, they burst him down so much, the Lulu ult doesn't even matter.
I think Blue was out of range.
The right fight. He was. He
was miles away.
Oh, he was back too far. Yeah, well, from that point, they've already killed Deft, and it's easy for them to take out the turret.
Look at Reckless right now as well. 7-1-4. The CS advantage really kicking into high gear here. He's been putting out so much farm. Every role is actually over-farmed. Spirit miraculously has 142 on Jarvan. He needs it to be able to initiate in. As soon as he jumps in, he's going to get stunned and try to get bursted down. Baron control will be very pivotal.
What are they going for? Spotting out a ward there. That's the Yellow Star. Trying to get a full control of this side of Samsung Blue's jungle. And we'll get that as well. That gold lead now is at 12,000 in favor of Fnatic. Just over half an hour into this game. Actually pinging the mid lane there. That one is actually pushing up towards that halfway point. Fnatic want the pressure in all three lanes to move forward.
Look at that gold difference between Reckless and Deft right now. 15,700 to 10,000. It's a 5,500 gold advantage.
And look at the team fight impact, the difference between Peke and...
Oh! Barry's gone free and they've dove in. There's only 3 of them there from Fnatic. Yellow Star will come round. He's hooked a minion. Not the target he won. And now Dade, he's going to go for Reckless. What can he do? He's got a QSS. The death mark is, of course, gone. Not able to finish him off. And now we see Peke right in the middle of the group. Soaz starts towards Deft. He's now all alone. They're going to turn this one around. And Soaz is the man to fall.
Wow, what a miraculous team fight by Blue there, down over 10,000 gold. They jumped the initiation before all of Fnatic is there. It looked like Dade had lost his mind. He almost was able to kill Reckless and still got out of his life, despite going in what seemed like 1v3.
Bad Quicksilver Sash for a Reckless.
Yeah. Woo. Even so, they still lose the fight.
Yeah, Soaz too close there, and the Blade of the Ruin King active. Going in, too close to Kog'Maw, gets slowed down, and he can't escape. Fnatic, they've got that one inhibitor down, but Blue have made stands in games down more than this.
We're 36 minutes in. I like the fact that Blue has put so much farm onto Spirit. It allows him to be able to go in and actually initiate without immediately falling prey to anything Fnatic puts at them. But with that being said, 12,000 gold, Baron's up. Vision control has actually not been acquired though.
I do want to take another look at the beginning of that fight too. What triggered Dade to go all in for Reckless? Did he see an early
I mean, he knew Peke was off on the side. He knew Soaz wasn't there. I think he was just trying to get as much damage down as possible.
He almost got him, even with the Sash. Ignite not enough though. Fnatic do retain control of the map. What they need to do now is, again, set up that line of vision wards. They need this line of wards inside the jungle of Blue for them to control this Baron, for them to get those bait picks that they need before the full 5-on-5 breaks out.
How are Blue gonna handle this one? Their wards being removed from the map. There's one coming over the top of the wall into that brush, and Fnatic got nothing to really sweep that one out with at this stage. There was a hook pretty much blind going through. Didn't land though. And Fnatic realizing that they have to push this middle wave back. That bottom lane, of course, is going to be pushing in Fnatic's favor, although the inhibitor has now respawned.
Fnatic can't chance around this for too long. You can see Reckless is almost item capped. Deft is only going to get stronger from this point. Cyanide and Soaz going nearly full tank builds. Fnatic is pretty much running a two-threat team right now, so if it gets super late game, they would struggle pretty heavily. They have to force quickly. That's a smart move.
Great little sneak there. Because they saw a couple of these wards placed leading up to the Baron in the river, they work around the vision that they know Blue has, not feeding them any unnecessary information and keeping at least a few members mid to draw Blue's attention. So they come up with the Baron, and now they need to use that Baron to take down that inhibitor, the exposed inhibitor. Try and get some picks around it. Be careful about those quick initiations from Blue. Last time they got to the doorstep, Spirit pulled the trigger.
Insane game so far. Fnatic well up in the lead. Another Baron buff now to try and push their leader. We said that they had to be decisive. There was a point in this game where I thought that Fnatic were moving around the map with no particular aim. They seem to have righted that ship for now. Obviously, having that fight down in the bottom lane, going in for that two-man Baron, working out for them up until this point.
It's almost like they waited till the last possible moment to turn it on. Then they took a risk. Fnatic doesn't like making high-risk plays, but they had to make one. It paid off, and now they're just trying to snowball it to victory.
And you have to do that when you're running a comp like this that has so much variance in it. It's all dependent on all these skill shots that land. This is, you know, why Fnatic are a lot of times considered a kind of a swingy team, because it does depend a lot on how those turn out.
I was watching an interview with Spirit before now saying that Blue had lost an embarrassing number of scrims to Western teams by their standards, and honestly, it definitely seems like Fnatic, I've heard they've been showing up very well in scrims as well. Obviously, they're not scrimming against Blue because they're in the same group. But even in the first game we saw today, Alliance versus Najin White Shield, Alliance put up a great fight in the mid game. I mean, these European teams, they came to play.
Yeah, these groups, this group...
It's a group of death. Like, it's not
disappointing.
Easy for anyone.
Said they were going to be exciting at the beginning of the day.
And it makes this group, if Fnatic are to win this one, absolutely insanely wide open. Fnatic are going to go in towards this bottom inhibitor now. There's no turret there from that push earlier on. Inhibitor spawning back in. Fnatic just have to be confident about this one. They have to use the advantage that they've got going. There is Reckless stepping forward. The Cullen will knock Samsung Blue away, and that is the inhibitor going down.
It's a smart move to concede that by Samsung Blue. If they fought them with the Baron buff and no turret to aid them, it would have been game. They're going to try and force the final fight of the game at one of their inhibitors that is at least defended by a turret.
And honestly, one line of super minions is manageable as long as it doesn't snowball into two lines. Like, they still have the ability to clear the side wave here with Dade fairly quickly and then move right back up if the fight breaks out. The thing is, if one of these hooks again lands onto Deft, where they can burst him down before the reactions from Acorn and Heart, same story will be true.
Colin is back off cooldown as well. That could be what Fnatic need here to force Samsung Blue once again away from this turret. Yellow Star keeps those hooks flying through, trying to just catch someone that Fnatic can make the jump on. We'll see about that. Peke does step forward now, and there is a Colin coming through. It's Death that it connects onto, and that means that Fnatic have already got that inhibitor turning down tower. Spirit goes down. Oh, last second wild growth. They got the tower, and they're going to get Acorn. This could be it for Fnatic. Down they trying to get away. Peke goes massive, gets the double kill. 2 inhibitors down. Are Fnatic going to look to win the game? No, they want to do it by the book. They're going for top.
They've killed both solo laners, so the defense for the third inhibitor is near impossible, but they seem like they have the momentum. Big death timers, third inhibitor potentially on the way. Death Spirit still alive.
Fnatic stepping up once again. This time Samsung Blue back away. So that's going to go towards Spirit. No stun, he's too healthy. Only gets the slow, but he'll force them away. 3 inhibitors down for Fnatic. Super minions coming in through that bottom lane. There's another calling towards Death. They're going to try and get in. The hook pulls the minion. Can they land one of those big CC chains and lock a man down? They're going in for the Nexus turrets. They get the first one.
They just got to focus
trying to hold it up. We've still got 15 seconds for Dade to come up. There's the second Nexus turret. Peke using a last second Nexus. Fnatic are fighting here. Is it going to go well for them? Is it going to go their way? They finish it off, and Fnatic take down Samsung Blue.
Can I just say that Peke showed up and proved everybody this game that he still has it. They let Dade on Zed, and he went into that counter pick in mind, chose the Ahri, which is skill matchup, all based on hitting that charm, and he had such a tremendous impact on the team fights. Pick after pick after pick, bursting down that single target champion, and Dade on Zed did not have the same success.
And guys, this just makes Group C wide open. We have LMQ at 2-0. Fnatic is now at 1-1. Blue is also now at 1-1. What is going to happen here? Fnatic looked incredibly strong here. Pretty weak against LMQ. Every team is about the matchup now.
Judging teams on single game performances will get you guys into trouble.
Absolutely.
That is what your takeaway from the group of death is definitely going to be.
Blue becomes the first team here at the 2014 World Championship from Korea to drop a game. And that has to hurt their confidence.
And Dade, the only member from Ozone to drop a game in group stages this year. He has something to prove. That hits them very hard. As you said, again, it's Fnatic who deal that blow to him.
2-5-1. The rest of his team wasn't performing that great either. They had that strategy of a late game team fight, and they never quite crested. They were never able to find the right kind of team fight. And they look devastated after a single loss.
Yeah, Def there is absolutely gutted. And you know, there was this mutual respect between him and Reckless, and honestly, out of the two, it's Reckless that's shown up today, and you can see for Deft exactly what that means. Tears being shed, and that's because there is just so much pressure on Blue right now. They're the team that everyone looked at in this group, if not for the entire World Championship, to pick up the win. Fnatic came here yesterday, lost to North America's 3rd seed, and then they've just beat the Korean #1 seed. Insane.
You almost don't believe that it could happen, right? Coming into this game, it was so unexpected.
I believe it. I saw it.
It just happened. Yeah, it definitely happened.
This is not Dream Jack.
Yeah.
But I just want to say, on your point on Def there, not only is there a lot of pressure on his shoulders, but in this game, it's all about so many skill shots he has to die. This is what Fnatic bring. This is why we say it's all about them. Yes, it's a risky style. They put everything on this. They have so many chances, and you could see multiple times in the game where Deft is like, okay, there's 1 dodge, there's 2 dodge. Now it's my time to go forward, but the 3rd one's going to hit him.
Well, it was an absolutely insane game. Fnatic, of course, picking up that victory. And while it's fresh in your mind, head over to Twitter and share your favorite moments from that game. Might take you more than one tweet, I suspect. Tweet at LOL Esports and use the hashtag #World'sBigPlays. Absolutely amazing win. Fnatic taking down Samsung Blue. We're going to check in with the analyst desk for the ins and outs of Fnatic's win.
Thank you very much, guys. And that game proves even gods can bleed. The group of Deft, Reckless, manages to shine, coming up against his opposite number. Peke delivered, and Yellowstar had a great game. Probably, I want to go straight to you because I think this game really sort of summarized the play by single target skill shots and just individuals really stepping up. Individuals that the majority of the desk had counted out. But I think let's talk about the game a little more.
I will say I betted on Blue, but I knew Peke would show up. So that makes me 3 for 3 in my predictions right now. I downplayed LMQ Xiao, downplayed Froggen, and downplayed Peke, and they all showed me up. So I'm going to do one more bold statement, but Complexity's Prawley, you suck. You're terrible at this game, and you're just a disappointment to North America. So learn to carry, man. Get it together.
Let's pull the replay up very quickly of that, summarizes this play. Probably, I still want to stick with you because you were particularly excited about this one. Set it up.
So this one I like the best because watch Yellowstar and Cyanide because they should be getting all the credit and they don't. But we can roll this clip right now. So he sees Dade's shadow being down and he just goes straight for it. And then Dade's forced to ult early. And watch Cyanide, he just hits that cocoon. Not where Dade is, but where Dade's ult shadow was. And now it's just up to Peke and Reckless to follow up on it and clean up. So they're kind of the unsung heroes. They're not going to get the credit for it because they didn't get the kills, but they're the stars of that play.
Yeah, XPK's play, I mean, the casters were talking about this a lot, just so impressive in that skill matchup. And I mean, I was concerned with the drafting phase coming in because for those of you who don't know, before this game, Dade is 17-2 all-time on Zed. And he played Zed quite poorly this game. He was ulting the QSS AD carry, and, he had a poor roam, which caused him to fall behind in CS early on in the game. But it's dangerous. It's super dangerous to let him have Zed. But they really powered through, and what an excellent game from Fnatic.
And definitely not trying to take too much away from Peke with that Dade play, but Peke was able to land charms in lane. And that's super risky, because in that matchup, if you shoot your charm out and it misses or he dodges it, Zed all ends and you automatically lose a trade. So it was really a confidence pick, picking that Ahri, giving him the Zed, because he goes, I know how to play this matchup and I have confidence with this champion.
Well, I'm happy you actually stopped there. We will be back to break down more of that amazing game, but first we're going to throw it over to Shox at the interview lounge for a word with one of the winners.
Thank you very much, guys. And I want to welcome Fnatic's Reckless after that huge win over Samsung Blue. Let's take it back to the beginning first, because a lot of oohs and ahs when you guys let the Zed through his first pick, but that was a manageable risk to you guys?
Our plan going into bans and picks.
Oh, I think you're good.
Okay. Our plan going into bans and picks were really different from yesterday, because we felt our game yesterday against LMQ, we kind of lost the game already in bans and picks, even though we did a lot of mistakes. I can't admit we didn't, but still, like, having a good ban and pick phase actually gives you a lot more opportunities in the game as well. So we tried to think really hard this time, and we didn't really expect the Zed first pick though. We thought they would always save the mid lane pick for last pick, but they seemed to be really confident with picking Zed early, which gave us a really good lane swap, sort of like catchy combo with Elise and Thresh. And with that, I don't really have the peel that I usually want, so I decided that Lucian would be a really good pick here.
Yeah, you went in there with Lucian. You guys did good in the early game, but people always say versus Samsung Blue, you got to have that huge lead. So tell me what you concentrated on going into the mid and late game.
Once we actually got the lead, and I think it started with like a double kill top lane and got their tier 2 tower, we kind of tried to break down the game like step by step. So it was more like on how to follow the game flow without being picked off in between. So we were really trying hard to get a tower, and then in between getting next tower, getting the vision required to not get catched out. So we were really taking it slow, and I guess the game was a bit longer than it could have been. We could have finished a bit earlier, but then again, we were kind of desperate for a win here after yesterday, so it felt really good.
It must have. Talked me through facing Deft, because we know that you guys have built up quite a friendship in your time in Korea.
I mean, I didn't really talk to Deft in person before I came to Korea, and then he kind of approached me over the League client and added me and stuff. So after that, we talk daily. And then once we met here in person in Singapore, basically the first thing I did was give him my jacket, and then he gave him his to me, and then after that it kind of just went on from there. So playing against him I was really nervous actually. It was one of the few times when I've been so nervous. And once they lane swapped, the nervousness just let go, and I got a really good lane swap actually, and we're pretty far ahead of him once we got into the 2v2. So I felt like it was a bit unfair maybe, but in the end he played really well as well.
Talk to me a little bit more about being nervous. After All-Star, you told me, I want to shine on that big stage, and it hasn't happened yet. So how do you keep this going? You got a huge matchup versus OMG coming up later.
For me, before All-Stars, I didn't practice as much as I should have. Meanwhile, now I've been practicing as much as I can, even cutting down my sleep schedule a bit. But now, once we got to Singapore, I tried to catch up. So I feel really confident now, and I think we feel really confident, and we trust each other. So we were a bit dismotivated yesterday and kind of had to come back somehow, and facing Blue and beating them is a really good motivational thing for the team. So going from here, I think we have a really good chance to place top 2 in this group.
Yeah, you definitely answered on the Rift. Thank you very much, and congratulations.
Thank you very much.
All right, now let's pass it back over to our guys at the desk.
Thank you very much, Shocks. There's so much to talk about for this game, so I'm going to open up to the panel and see where you guys want to flow with it. Let's start. Samsung Blue, starting out traditionally, struggling in the early stages of the game. The difference here, Fnatic, their lanes, especially mid and duo, played exceptionally. They played Dragons well. And I'm going to say it, and you can argue or not, they out-rotated Samsung Blue convincingly in the mid-game.
Absolutely. I mean, there's not really they took the objectives better. They really utilized their power spike, because when you were looking at the team comps, they had to win that mid game, and they were aggressive about the way they played Dragon. They were aggressive about the way they played towers, and they made some moves. I mean, they got that huge chunk onto the tier 2 mid after baiting out that Dragon, and yeah, they did out-rotate Blue for sure.
I think this was one of the few times we see a team that's not in position for Dragon, but trying to contest it, play around it perfectly, and have the rotational advantage. And I think we have a replay of that as well, if we can get that over your screen right now. Hey, it worked today. Yay. So basically what I want to show you is basically right now, what happened prior to this clip was Soas was split pushing top lane. This puts a timer on Samsung Blue. Blue is stuck on the right side of Dragon as well, because Fnatic has a position on the left side, upside. So there's two things Fnatic can do all the time. They can go mid or they can go top.
Yeah, I thought that Blue had just seen Soaz use his ult as well, so it was a bit of a surprise that he teleported in, because he was at a little bit of a disadvantage. So I don't think Blue thought this was a possibility coming into this.
Yeah, Soaz Blue is ulti to just speed up that timer. He wants the wave top to hit. He wants to have the option of the wave mid to go in. Even if Fnatic says after a while, hey guys, this Dragon seems to be uncontestable, we can still trade that for at least one tower if we five-man roll mid. Now if we roll the clip, it's just really good what happens. Fnatic TP's in. Yellow Star, beautiful flash hook. That will hit at least somebody. Somebody will get hit by that hook. He plays him in. Spirit does a good escape though. He does the Cataclysm in and EQs out. But Fnatic picks up that Dragon, I believe. And at the same time is in a good spot to rotate left, back into where the objectives are, the towers are. They go a little bit deep. Pekka got a little bit chunked, but even then, just the positional play is good. A lot of these times, teams stay on the right side of the Dragon Pit, and that's how you exploit that. You keep pressure mid. Ideally, you have pressure top as well, and then the Dragon 50-50, but Fnatic took it.
Before we get to Probably, double lift time in.
And I just want to point out the catalyst for that play. Why was Fnatic able to push them off so quickly and win that fight? Mostly it was Thresh. It was Yellow Star's amazing play, and I just want to say, wrap up the statistic. Thresh, 85% kill participation so far in Singapore, just in Singapore. 4-2 win-loss, but those two losses, Dada 777 from OMG and Dance from Kaboom. So really, those guys are kind of they didn't play very well, to be honest. They might be the worst supports in their group, but 4-2, now 5-2, insane kill participation. He's going to be a high priority pick for the rest of the group.
I just wanted to point out a quick thing with Peke was not grouped that fight, and it was on purpose. Normally when you see the Thresh, Elise, Ahri, skill shot, monster combo, you want to be grouped for this, but he wasn't, and it actually made the enemy team mess up their positioning, because they could no longer just stare at Thresh and dodge Thresh. Because now they have to dodge his Thresh here and dodge his Ahri Charm here. So it actually made Blue kind of scatter a lot more than they needed to.
Fnatic layered them as well. Rarely would you see both of them go at the same time, except that one time where they went for a pick. So they send out one, this forces the guy to either left or right. The second one comes out, and then it's more likely to hit. And then the third one comes in after, and then it's almost guaranteed to hit, or the dude's all the way zoned out. So I really like this triple like a missile launcher system that Fnatic had to catch out Deft over and over again.
It helps when you can actually land those targets because they did manage to do it. Let's pull up the third replay that we do have queued up for you guys. And it's really the team fight that led to the Baron that sort of sealed the deal in Fnatic's favor. Let's roll this clip out and Doublelift start us off.
And right here, Spirit has a beautiful initiation on 2 champions with no flash, but Acorn really blows it right here. You see that Lulu ulti knocking Yellowstar out of the Cataclysm, which lets him walk away and Lantern Cyanide. That actually was a really great initiation by Samsung Blue, but just because that happened and 2 of them got away without dying, Soaz can just come in, get a stun on Acorn. I feel like Acorn really dropped the ball there. Yes, Dade ended up ulting the QSS Lucian, but it's not really his fault. He doesn't really have a choice here. It was really Acorn who blew up the Cataclysm initiate and then ended up dying for free.
Well, and it was just the itemization here that allowed this to happen. Xpeke did go for that very early Zhonya's in this game, and then because Reckless got so far ahead, he was able to get a relatively quick QSS as well as a 4th item. And so just perfect itemization. At that point, Dade can't do anything. He missed his window of time. He was not split pushing. He was too far behind to win the split push, and that was it.
And Yellowstar lands another hook on Deft. I think there has been 4 or 5 just crucial hooks that breaks the entire momentum of that team fight, especially with the Kog'Maw having so much of the damage output in that fight. Peke flanks and they just clean up.
Yeah, actually, when Dade was splitting, they actually responded perfectly well. Ahri rushed that Zhonya's and she just matched the split. She wasn't trying to fight the Zed, but she was just wave clearing everything, so Zed could never really build up that kind of big wave where you look at it and you're like, Zed's in the side lane, let's run.
Into that game there, we did see the players taking some time to actually look at the screens. We saw Aranea, Peke, and Reckless looking at the end game stats, and the reason for that is it is damage done. I've had the fortunate to take a look at some of the numbers here. Reckless dealt over 335,000 damage over the course of that game. Peke, 275,000. The closest to them is 215 from Deft. So massive goals between the carries. It is, of course, a 2 damage threat. Anyways, we do need to move on, so we're going to step away for a quick moment. And when we come back, we will see how Najin White Shield stacks up against North America's Cloud9. Keep it tuned right here for more of our World Championship coverage.
That's actually nice on towards Dade. He's actually going to get the wild growth out of Acorn. They're coming through. Reckless gets the one. Can they shut down Acorn as well? They do. They're missing and Deft trying to turn this one around. There is a tidal wave coming in. Cyanide down in the middle though. They managed to pick up Deft. Spirit's in the front. Peke's going to come on big. There's a stun onto Acorn. Peke blows him up as Dade goes towards Reckless, but he's just going to QSS that off and surely will get the kill. Nice! Again, Fnatic decides, screw it, let's do it! Max range onto Acorn! We'll get the one, Heart will be the next one! They got the tower, and they're gonna get Acorn! This could be it for Fnatic! Now they're trying to get away! Peke goes massive!